My baby. Hi, it's Krista at the Secret Yarnery. Today, we are making this super cute hat. Ruffle hat, I should say. So super easy granny stitch to start. Can make it any size just by adjusting your increases in round 5. And it has an absolute stunning way to join the ruffles, so you don't need elastic, it's no stretch. It fixes all the problems with ruffle hats, and it fits on your head. All you need is yarn and a hook. You don't have to get anything else, nothing fancy. It doesn't stretch out. It's fabulous, and of course, it's pretty cute. So let me show you how to do it. Oh, also the sweater, this tutorial is also coming out if you want to do a little matching thing, or you just love the sweater as it is. It's pretty great. So let me show you how to do it. For the hat part, I just used scraps of yarn that I had on hand. I picked 3 colors of blue and 3 colors of green and 3 neutrals. And I just did 3 colors and then a neutral, 3 colors and a different neutral all the way along just to create a stripe that I found, well, I like it. But you could use even just 1 color. You don't have to change colors as often as I did. And so I used 85 grams of scraps for the hat part for my size. And for the ruffle, I used 125 grams. So you're going to need more than 1 ball of yarn for the ruffle. The ruffle takes up a lot of yarn. And if you want to make your hat in a different size, you just change how many increases you do in the 5th round up here. So you can make it any size just by doing more increases in round 5. That's the only time we change our stitches, or that's where we size the hat. To make your no stretch, no elastic granny stitch ruffle hat, you're going to need yarn. I used just scraps of regular size 4 worsted weight acrylic. That's 10 ply if you're in Australia. And I used 3 colors of blue, 3 colors of green, and 3 neutrals, just from what I had on hand. I used a 6mm crochet hook with my yarn. And a handful of stitch markers is handy, especially when we're sizing our hats in row 5. You'll also need a pair of scissors and a needle for sewing in your ends. Here are the timestamps. You can jump back into where you left off, and let's get started. To start your easy crochet ruffle hat pattern, we can do a magic ring or a chain 3 ring, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to do a magic ring. So just take your yarn and put it over your non-dominant hand. Hold it down on your ring finger and wrap it around your top 2 fingers, making an X, and bring it underneath your thumb as well. Turn your hand over and you're going to have a short strand and a long strand. Grab your crochet hook, hook side facing down, and slide it underneath the short strand and on top of the long strand. Drag that long strand underneath the short strand and point your hook towards yourself. That loop or that yarn is up on the fat part of your hook. Release your thumb a little bit so that long strand can drag. You can move it slightly. Turn your hook away from yourself underneath that long strand. And now you can just hold everything on your hook, pinch everything underneath. Turn your hook and bring that yarn through that loop. Let go of everything, and there is your magic ring. Chain 1 and make 11 double crochets into the center of your ring, taking care to go over your tail. So 11 double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3. If you'd like to follow along with the written pattern, all of my patterns are available on my website, secretyarnery.com, and all of my patterns are written in plain English, just like I was sitting there right beside you. So just make sure you have 11 double crochets, not counting your chain. So there's my chain. So I'm just going to cover it up with my thumb and count 11 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now you can pull that ring nice and closed, like that. And we're going to slip stitch to the top of the first reel double crochet to join. So we're ignoring that chain. That's just to fill out our circle. So right here into the top of our first real double crochet, that is where we're going to slip stitch to join. And chain 1 to secure your yarn. Cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up and your yarn through and snug that down to secure. So now we're going to pop our hook in to this stitch right here. So this is where we joined. That's our join. We're going to pop our hook into this stitch right here. Just pop your hook in. Loop of new color on your hook. Bring it through, slip stitch with both strands to join. Drop your tail just holding it along the top edge of your work and chain 2. 1 and 2. Now make 1 double crochet into that very same stitch. 1 double crochet into the same stitch. And now you can drop your tail. We're going to have to sew that in later. 2 double crochets into each stitch all the way around. We're just doubling our stitch count. 2 double crochets into each stitch, just like that. So you can pause the video, keep working along, 2 double crochets into each stitch all the way along, and I'll meet you when you get back to where we started, or at this join actually, right over there. When you get back to our join, we're going to make 2 double crochets before the join and 2 double crochets after the join. So we're going to be treating this as 2 stitches, even though it's not. So before the join, just push your hook in, 2 double crochets. And into this last stitch right there, 2 double crochets. Just like that. Slip stitch to the top of the chain to join. Chain 1 to secure your yarn. Cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up and your yarn through and snug that down to secure. So now we just want to find a space in between these pairs of stitches. It doesn't matter where, but you can see our pairs. So there's 2 double crochets, 2 double crochets. We're just going to put our hook in between one of those pairs. It doesn't matter where. Pop your hook in and grab your next color of yarn. Loop of yarn on our hook. Bring it through, slip stitch with both strands to join, and just hold that tail along the top edge of our work for the next couple stitches. So chain 2. That counts as our first double crochet, and into the same space, 2 double crochets. Into the very same space. Like that. Now we can drop our tail, but we're going to have to sew it in with a needle later. And after the next pair of double crochets, we're going to do 3 double crochets into the next space after the pairs. So we're working in to each space in between the pairs of double crochets from the previous round. And we're putting 3 double crochets in between each of them. Right there. So 3 double crochets into each space between each pair all the way around. So you can pause the video, keep working around, 3 double crochets in between each pair of stitches, and I will meet you when you get back all the way over here where we began. So when you get back to where we began, I am going to slip stitch into the top of that chain to join. So no chaining before. We're just going to slip stitch right into the top of our chain to join, and chain 1 to secure your yarn, and cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up and your yarn through and snug that down to secure. Now I'm just going to insert my hook into any other space and grab my neutral color because I'm still matching my sweater. So 3 rounds of color and then a neutral. The loop of yarn on your hook, bring it through, slip stitch with both strands to join, Drop your tail just holding along the top edge of your work. We can work over it for the next 2 stitches. Chain 2, that counts as your first double crochet. And into the same space, 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. So we're just going to do that all the way around, 3 double crochets into each space. So 3 double crochets into each space all the way around. When you get to your tail, you can fold that or fold it along the top edge of your work and work over that one as well. So 3 double crochets into each space all the way around, and I'll meet you when you get back to where we started, right over here. When you get back to where we started, we're just going to put your hook into the top of our chain and single crochet to join. We're going to continue with this yarn. Chain 2, so that counts as our first double crochet, and 2 double crochets into that same space. Just like that. Now we can grab our stitch markers and decide how often we are going to increase. For medium size, I'm going to increase, so purple means increase. I'm going to increase twice, and then I'm going to do a regular. So orange means regular. So increase twice, and a regular stitch into the 3rd space. So if you want to use stitch markers just to map it out before you get started, and then the more increases you do, the larger your hat is going to be, and the least or the less amount of increases you do, the smaller your hat is going to be. So for medium size, I am doing 2 increases and then a regular. You can do all regular if you want it small, if you want for like a newborn, or for a child, you can maybe just put in like 2 increases or 3 increases and the rest just regular stitches. And if you want it super big, you can just do increases everywhere. So it's super customizable, but I also give you the sizes in the written pattern. If you want to grab one of those, it's on my website, secretyarnery.com. Oops, that's the wrong color. That is regular. And don't worry if it doesn't work out perfectly, like exactly all the way around. We just need to be making enough increases for it to fit. So this is how I do mine. And now an increase is super easy. We're just going to do 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets into the space. So 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets into the space, just like that. And then if you're using stitch markers, you don't have to. If you are experienced crocheter, you can just pop that stitch marker into the chain 1 space. So for the next round, you can tell where you need to be making another set of granny stitches. Into the next space, it's also going to be an increase. Increases, 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets, all into the same space. So there's my 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. We're just building another space. Just like that. You can pop that stitch marker into your chain 1 space, just to mark it for the next round. Our next space is just going to be regular, so 3 double crochets into the next space. And into the next 2 spaces are going to be increases. So it's reg, ink, ink, reg, ink, ink for medium size. So increase, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. And then just pop that stitch marker up to the chain space. I'm going to do that again in the next space. So this is how you're going to size your hat, is by doing more of these increase shells. So 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. And if you want it smaller, you're going to do less of them. So super easy to customize. Into the next space, 3 double crochets. Pop that stitch marker out. And into the next 2 spaces, we're going to be doing an increase into each. So increases, 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets. Like that. Into the next space, just regular, so 3 double crochets. And into the last space and increase. Yours could be different. Depending how big you're making your hat, it is up to you. Like that, and then just pop that stitch marker to mark that we made an increase right there. Like that. Now I'm finished with this color yarn, so into the top of our chain, I'm going to push my hook in, 2 strands on the top of my hook, and I'm going to slip stitch to join. If you're going to continue, you can do your single crochet to join. And chain 1 to secure your yarn. Cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up and your yarn through. Snug that down to secure. And now we are ready to start the next round. Now insert your hook into any of these chain 1 spaces. You can pop that stitch marker out if it's in your way, and grab your next color, loop of yarn on your hook, bring it through and slip stitch with both strands to join. I'm going to pop that stitch marker out. Drop your tail just holding along the top edge of your work. We can work over it for the next 2 stitches and chain 2. Now into that space, 2 double crochets. Drop your tail, and now into the next space, 3 double crochets. We're doing 3 double crochets in each space all the way around. So each space gets 3 double crochets, even our chain 1 space from our increases. That's where that's where our size is coming from, into these chain 1 spaces. So 3 double crochets into each space all the way around, including our chain 1 spaces that we marked with these stitch markers. You can pause the video, keep working around 3 double crochets into each space, plus that chain 1 space at the top of those little hills where our stitch markers are, 3 double crochets into each space all the way around the edge of your hat. So you can pause the video, keep working around, and I'll meet you when you get back over here where we began. When you reach back to where we began, I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of that chain to join. I'm going to change colors. If you want to keep going with this color, you'll just join with a single crochet and chain 2. I'm going to slip stitch and chain 1 so I can cut my yarn and pull my hook up and my yarn through and snug that down to secure. Now, the next round is super easy. Now you can just insert your hook into any space and grab your next color, loop of yarn on your hook, bring it through, slip stitch with both strands to join, drop your tail just holding along the top edge of your work for the next 2 stitches, and chain 2. 2 double crochets into the same space, and 3 double crochets into each space all the way around. So now for the side of our hat, we are building the side of our hat. So 3 double crochets into each space all the way around, and now we are growing our hat. So for a child size, we have to do about 8 rounds. So we're just going to work around doing this repeat until the side of our hat is the size we want it to be. So for medium, I'm doing this for 9 rows. So 3 double crochets into each stitch all the way around, and either joining with a single crochet to keep going with the same color, or joining with a slip stitch and chaining 1 to finish off that color. We're just going to do this easy round as many times as you like for the size of your hat. So you can pause the video. I'll meet you at the end of this row, and then you can just keep growing the hat on your own. So there I am right back where I began. I'm going to be changing colors, but if you are going to continue with the same color, you're just going to go into the top of your chain and make 1 single crochet to join and chaining 2. So that counts as your first double crochet. And then you'd make your 2 double crochets into that same space and just keep working along like you normally do. Just like that. And if you are finishing off your yarn, we are just going to join with our usual slip stitch into the top of our chain. So a slip stitch to join and chaining 1 to secure your yarn. Cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up and your yarn through and snug that down to secure. So now you can keep going, repeating that round for as many rows as you like. For small, you're going to make 7 more rows. For medium, you're going to make 8 more rows. And for large, you're going to make 9 or 10 more rows. So pause the video, grow the side of your hat, and I'll meet you back. When your hat is the size you want it to be, we are ready to start the ruffles. So just pop your hook into any space. Get a loop of yarn on your hook. Bring it through, slip stitch with both strands to join. Drop your tail and chain 3. Now we're just going to make a single crochet into the space. And now chain 2 and single crochet into the space. So we're replacing 3 double crochets with a single crochet and a chain 2. So our stitch count stays the same, but it shrinks up. It removes the stretch from our hat. So single crochet, chain 2. Single crochet, chain 2. We're just going to do that all the way around our hat. Single crochet, chain 2. When you get back to where we started, I've done my chain 2. Now we're just going to slip stitch in to the legs of that very first stitch we did, that slip stitch. We're just going to pop our hook right into those legs and slip stitch to join. Just like that. Slip stitch over into the space. So we're working in this space here, and chain 3. So that counts as our first double crochet. And now in, right, how many do I have to do? I have to do 10. And now into the space, we're doing 9 double crochets. So that counts as our 10 double crochets because our chain counts. And now into each space all the way around, we're doing 10 double crochets into each. So into the next space, 10 double crochets. So there's 10 into the next space, and we're just going to do that all the way around. So you can pause the video, keep working along, 10 double crochets into each of these spaces, and I'll meet you when you get right back over here where we began. And if your hat looks like this, Don't stress out, don't panic. We need it to be cinched in at the top, like a little bowl or a purse, because these ruffles are really gonna stretch it out. So we need this cinched in kind of start to keep our ruffles from making our hat just too sloppy. So don't panic if yours looks exactly like mine. Mine looks like that too. When we get back to where we started, we just want to slip stitch in to the top of our chain right there, and we want 2 strands on the top of our chain, on the top of our hook. So just pop your hook in and slip stitch, chain 3, and into the same chain. We're going to go right into this top of our chain, this hole right here, and we're going to make 2 double crochets into the chain. And into the next stitch, that's this little guy right here. So this loop at the front and the loop at the back, that's our next stitch. So 3 double crochets into that funny little stitch. Now, if you miss any of these, it's not the end of the world. No one's going to see. But if you want to get into every single stitch, that's where they are. And now 3 double crochets into each stitch all the way around. So this part is nice and easy. 3 double crochets into each stitch. And you can see your stitches super easy. So pause the video, 3 double crochets into each stitch. I'm going to do that for 2 rounds, but I'll meet you at the end of this round so we can start the next one together. If you're an experienced crocheter, go ahead, 2 rounds just like this, 3 double crochets into each stitch. So now pause the video, keep working along, and I'll meet you when you get right over here where we began this round. If you're new to crochet, you can also just pop a stitch marker into that chain space just to mark where we're going to join when we get back here. When you get back around to where we started, you can pop that stitch marker out. And we're just going to slip stitch into the top of that chain to join. So slip stitch into the top of the chain to join. Chain 3. And we're just going to do the same thing again. So into our chain, that little hole right there, we're going to make 2 double crochets into the chain. And 3 double crochets into the next stitch, which is that little stitch right there. 3 double crochets into the little stitch. So just slide that first loop on and slide the second loop. And now 3 double crochets into each stitch all the way around, just like we were doing before. So pause the video, keep working all the way around, and I'll meet you back when you have finished your 3rd row of ruffle. When you get back around to where we started, I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of that chain to join. Just into the top of the chain, same as we did before. So slip stitch into the chain, chain 3, and into that chain right there, we're going to make our 2 double crochets to start. So that counts as our first 3 double crochets of the 3rd round. And now the next stitch is right here. Now, it's a ruffle, so you can skip it. Nobody's going to come in and see that you didn't work into it. But if you are a perfectionist, you want to make sure you get into every stitch. The next stitch is a bit hiding. It's right there. So you can put 3 double crochets into that next stitch. Just slide that first loop onto your hook and make 3 double crochets. And now 3 double crochets into each stitch all the way around. So you can pause the video, keep working around. 3 double crochets into each stitch, and I'll meet you when you get right back over here where we started this round. Perfect sound. When you get back to where we started, we're just going to slip stitch into the top of your chain. So just push your hook in. You want 2 strands on the top of your hook. Slip stitch to join. And chain 1 to secure your yarn. Cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up, your yarn through, snug that down to secure. Sew in your tails, and you're finished. So I hope you enjoyed making this as much as I did. Don't forget to drop a photo of your colors in the community tab down below. And I'm waiting for you in that video up there. Stay hooked.